Christopher Lee, Satanic Rites of Dracula, tonight at 11:30 on Channel 9.
Tonight, scandal moves closer to the Oval Office with reports that the president's chief of staff, Donald Regan, was informed step by step about the Iranian arms deal. Also, was President Reagan betrayed by his own management style? We'll talk to Fortune magazine's Marshall Loeb. And Thanksgiving, from the pomp of the parades to a heartfelt prayer of hope.
We didn't have anywhere to sleep for those 3 days. I had the sleigh to keep my daughter, and me and my husband walked all night long.
This is INN, the independent news.
Good evening, I'm Ed Miller. Morton Dean is off tonight. President Reagan spent this Thanksgiving in seclusion at his ranch in California. Although he disappeared from public view, the scandal rocking the White House did not disappear. Caught up in the storm of controversy today was White House Chief of Staff Donald Regan, one of President Reagan's closest advisors and friends. According to a White House insider, Reagan approved the idea of using profits from a secret arms deal with Iran to finance rebels fighting the Nicaraguan government. The source also noted that Reagan was informed from the very beginning last summer, every step of the way, once a month, sometimes once a week. Meanwhile, the man blamed for organizing the deal to divert money to the Contras, Oliver North, was caught up in more controversy. North was fired on Tuesday, but a story in the Los Angeles Times says that North spent the days before his firing shredding documents in his office. The newspaper says the documents could be crucial to linking other officials to the Iranian deal. The Iranian arms deal seems to have scratched some of the Teflon coating from the Reagan presidency. Ironically, it was another Iranian crisis that helped propel Ronald Reagan into the White House. In Focus tonight, John Obershon reports on whether Iran may have influenced American politics.
Angry mobs and American hostages in Iran. They became Jimmy Carter's obsession and drove him from office.
We have now reached an agreement with Iran which will result, I believe, in the freedom of our American hostages.
In a very real way, the long Iran agony elected Ronald Reagan. And at his first news conference, just a week after taking office, President Reagan was facing the chaos the Ayatollah had created.
Given the anti-U.S. sentiment there, how do you best think the United States can ensure the stability of the region?
Well, I think one of the first things that has to happen is, for stability, has got to be in Iran itself to establish a government that can speak as a government for Iran.
But with the American hostages safely home, Reagan's foreign policy focus was closer to home, stopping communism in Central America, stopping Nicaraguan-backed guerrillas in El Salvador, and secretly creating and backing an army of rebels to fight the Nicaraguan government. Then, two series of events planted the seeds for the scandal Reagan now faces. First, the secret war against Nicaragua was forced out into the open, and an angry Congress eventually cut off U.S. military aid to the rebels, the Contras. The president made it clear he'd never give up.
And I guess that makes them Contras, and so it makes me a Contra too.
Second, America was dragged back into the Middle East, sending Marines to Lebanon to see 241 of them die in a terrorist bombing. In time, American intelligence showed Iran's fingerprints on that attack, and possibly on the kidnappings of new American hostages in Lebanon. In June of '85, a plane full of Americans was hijacked to Beirut.
At what point can you pay off to terrorists without endangering people from here on out once they find out that their tactics succeed?
There was no payoff, but President Reagan was told that Iran was a key player in the release of the TWA passengers. Days later, the president put Iran and Nicaragua in the same basket, calling them international gangsters.
Iran, Libya, North Korea, Cuba, Nicaragua, continents away, tens of thousands of miles apart, but the same goals and objectives. Most of the terrorists who are kidnapping and murdering American citizens and attacking American installations are being trained, financed, and directly or indirectly controlled by a core group of radical and totalitarian governments, a new international version of Murder Incorporated.
But that is also precisely when Reagan's National Security Council began its secret approach to Iran. And about a month later, the first plane load of U.S. weapons and parts went from Israel to Iran. Very shortly, American hostage Benjamin Weir was freed in Lebanon. There were many more weapon shipments and more hostage releases. Aides say Reagan, like Carter, had become obsessed with getting the hostages home. And then, after the Iran arms deals, too, were forced out into the open, the bombshell from the Attorney General.
Certain monies which were received in the transaction between representatives of Israel and representatives of Iran were taken and made available to the forces in Central America which are opposing the Sandinista government there.
The president's twin obsessions had come together. The terrible irony of Iran coming back to haunt another president, and of Mr. Reagan's anti-communist crusade deeply wounded in the process, is a tragedy no playwright would have constructed on Inauguration Day 1981. And the final act has not yet been written. For the Independent News, John Aubuchon at the White House.
Coming up, has the president's style of management helped to cause the current crisis? We'll talk with a management expert, Marshall Blobe of Fortune magazine.
The Independent News brought to you by Fixodent, by the General Foods Corporation, and by Whirlpool.
Thankful for health. I'm thankful for all the blessings that we have, for the love that we have. I'm thankful that we're all here together.
I'm thankful for my kids. Right? Say something.
Yes.
Here comes Santa with quality Norelco gifts for everyone. Every man wants a Norelco rechargeable for blade close shaves, a shoe polisher, or for his beard or mustache, a handy trimmer. Give her a ladies' rechargeable razor. Keep clothes looking smart at home or away. Or give this stylish coffee maker with automatic shutoff. Playing Santa is simple. Just remember Norelco. Even our name says Merry Christmas.
Norelco, we put quality first.
I just got dentures, but with Fixodent, I don't get the dentures come loose blues.
Fixodent and forget it.
Denture wearers can't eat everything, but with Fixodent, I can feast more than just my eyes.
Fixodent and forget it. Fixodent helps fix loose spots for a strong hold that lasts longer than any leading cream.
A woman in my position can't worry about hold.
Use Fixodent and forget it.
Today in music history, brought to you by Swiss Miss Sugar-Free Chocolate Milk Maker. Good taste combined with good sense. Jimi Hendrix. Born today, November 27th, 1942.
A sip of Swiss Miss hot cocoa tastes so good and rich, it makes me... Carnation rich chocolate flavor doesn't taste as rich. Swiss Miss is wonderfully creamy and rich at tasting. It's full of real Wisconsin milk and rich imported cocoa. So why feel like when you could feel like Swiss Miss? The only thing better than the way it tastes is the way it makes you feel. Swiss Miss, regular and sugar-free.
Saturday,
Have either of you noticed that Sonny's not at the piano? Must be request night.
Sonny's stuck on the roof on It's a Living. And
I'll bet you $5 you can't get down here in 30 seconds.
Roger runs away on One Big Family. Then
you can be the defense counsel.
Can I prostitute?
Nikolai's on trial when he sells a rotten watch.
What a country.
It's all Saturday beginning at 5 on Channel 9.
Some weeks ago, Fortune magazine dedicated its cover story to President Reagan's style of management and what other employers could learn from it. That whole management style now has been called into question. The managing editor of Fortune magazine is with us. First of all, what is this style?
Well, the president concentrates on a very few issues, and he has certain fixed principles. And then he says, as he told us in an interview, and as we said on the cover of Fortune magazine, and this is a quote, "Surround yourself with the best people you can find, delegate authority, and don't interfere." He also added, don't interfere so long as you're sure that the policy that you support is being carried out.
So this is the way he did business. Was this a bad way of doing business?
It's a very good way of doing business because, as we know, too many bosses try to do everything themselves. That got Jimmy Carter into trouble. Now, when you do something like this and you delegate authority to people whom you think are good people, there's going to be a certain amount of breakage. At some time, certain things will go wrong, but by and large, this style has served the president well.
Where did it go wrong, in your opinion, in this case?
We do not know as yet where it went wrong. Those facts remain to be disclosed later on. But presumably, people at lower levels, possibly, probably, without the president's knowledge, went ahead and took certain initiatives on their own that now are proving to be embarrassing.
This may be a little simplistic, but when you have this kind of system, in your opinion, is the boss, numero uno, is he supposed to know about everything that goes on?
Of course the boss can't know about everything, and any kind of a large organization, and the United States government is probably the most complex and least manageable organization in the world. And if a boss attempted to know every detail about everything, he would very soon exhaust himself and not be a good leader or manager whatsoever.
And this management style has proved very effective in his dealings.
Well, the president so far has had about 4 major objectives, and he's achieved 3 of them. The only one that he has conspicuously failed on so far is to close the budget deficit. So whether you like him or dislike him doesn't matter. The point is that you must concede until now he's been a reasonably good manager.
Quickly, I know it's early in the game, but knowing what we know of this situation going on in the White House now, what would you do to correct the situation? More checks and balances?
Well, I think, first of all, you've got to be very level with the people, and you've got to get the information out as quickly as you can. Second, there can be no cover-up whatsoever. And third, the people who are responsible will have to pay for the consequences. My own estimate is that if these things are done, the president will surmount the crisis with success.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Loeb.
Thank you.
The government of Iran does not have much of a sense of humor when it comes to its leadership. On Saturday, a program on Italy's government-run television network featured a comedy sketch about the U.S.-Iran arms deal. Actors portrayed the Ayatollah Khomeini, the Ayatollah's mother, and President Reagan. Today, Iran indicated it did not appreciate the jokes. 3 Italian diplomats were expelled from Iran, and Iran's ambassador was recalled from Rome. The Iranian news agency termed the television broadcast insulting. Coming up, from a pilgrim wedding to balloons on Broadway, the nation celebrates Thanksgiving. Stay with us.
I'm thankful for you letting me to be on television today. Because, exposure is the key.
I'm thankful for my house and all my food and my brothers and my father, my aunts, my uncle.
Morning is your time. The earth wakes up with you. Always feel that spark of life in everything that you do.
Grape nuts. For you, it's as natural as the morning. No sugar added, no preservatives. Just an honest, nutty crunch. Post Grape Nuts cereal. You know when you have it good.
Yes, you know when you have it good.
Sometimes cooking gets a little messy. That's why Whirlpool ranges are easy to clean, with cooktops that wipe up quickly and ovens that do the cleaning for you, all to make your world a little easier.
Whirlpool.
Dusting with Pledge has kept this table beautiful for 28 years. And now Endust says watch out for buildup? Come on. Pledge is self-cleaning, so it cleans away old polish.
Pledge, a fresh shine every time.
Holidays, holidays.
During Sears 2-day holiday kickoff, doors open early at 8 a.m. with exciting values and gift ideas throughout the entire store. Great savings on men's shaker knits in 18 beautiful colors, only $11.88. And stylish Mrs. sweaters in 10 popular shades, only $6.99. Hurry, sale ends Saturday.
There's more for your life.
Opens at 8 a.m.
At Sears.
I want waterbed, I want because I sleep good. Waterbed where I showed me how.
Flash! From around the world and across the nation, people are rushing to Waterbed Warehouse. Why? Because you can get a complete waterbed for only $99. That's right, only $99. So hurry into Waterbed Warehouse. Our low prices will knock your socks off.
Waterbed Warehouse, show me. Waterbed Warehouse, Waterbed Warehouse, Waterbed.
On tonight's INN Health Beat, cholesterol, a startling new study on the dangers of high levels and a new drug that may bring those levels down.
INN's Health Beat is brought to you by Anacin.
A new government study points up the need to lower unhealthy levels of cholesterol. Scientists say 4 out of every 5 middle-aged men in the United States risk dying prematurely from heart disease because of high cholesterol levels. Research on 350,000 men shows the danger present even in those men who do not smoke or have high blood pressure. Meanwhile, scientists have developed a new drug that shows great promise in cutting cholesterol levels. The drug, called lovastatin, reduced blood cholesterol levels by an average 32% in tests involving more than 100 patients. The drug will not be available commercially for at least 2 years. Another experimental drug is in the news tonight, one that seems to quickly reverse or prevent the intoxicating effects of alcohol. The drug might be used to treat chronic alcoholics or to sober up drunks. Researchers are currently testing the drug on rats and other animals.
INN's Health Beat was brought to you by Anacin.
Be thankful on this Thanksgiving Day to have my daughters with me, Melissa and Jesse, and the babies at home.
I'm really proud that I'm alive today. God has been really good to us.
I'm thankful for being here.
I am so pleased with these new caplets. Finally, somebody put the medicine I prefer into easy-to-take coated caplets.
Introducing new Anacin caplets, the only coated caplets with a formula containing aspirin, the pain-relieving medicine doctors recommend most.
The coating makes it so easy to swallow.
New Anacin caplets with a protective coating for easy swallowing.
I like the strength and the coating.
New Anacin caplets with strong doctor-recommended medicine. Anacin, doctor-recommended, now in coated caplets, too.
This man is missing nearly 1/2 of the fiber he should have every day. He's not the only one. The National Cancer Institute states that most Americans have diets lacking adequate fiber. Fortunately, just 1 serving of Kellogg's All-Bran has the amount of fiber needed to make up what the average person is missing each day. Kellogg's All-Bran. It can make all the difference.
When my granddaughter comes to visit, I stay calm, even if there's an accident. Spills are no problem, even pet stains, with the amazing Remington Vic Vac carpet stain cleaner. First, it vacuums up the stains. Then, with a special detergent and brush, its cleaning system gently dissolves and deodorizes fast. Vacuum again, and the stain is gone, leaving my carpet and my disposition spotless. The new rechargeable Remington Vic Vac treats stains like dirt.
Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev said today the world needs star peace, not star wars. In his speech to India's parliament, Gorbachev condemned the U.S. space defense project, saying mankind will not accept it. Instead, he proposed creation of an international center that would promote peace. Gorbachev and India's Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi signed a joint declaration calling for world nuclear disarmament by the end of the century. They also took part in the signing of a large Soviet aid package for India. While her husband tended to state affairs, Soviet First Lady Razi Gorbachev visited an Indian mosque. News photographers covering the tour claimed they were jostled by Soviet security. In retaliation, the photographers stormed off, refusing to cover her next stop, a visit to a handicraft shop. West Germany took a swing at Syria today, but did not go for a knockout. Bonn announced diplomatic and economic sanctions against Syria, but refused to cut off all diplomatic ties. This after a Berlin court ruling yesterday that found Syria helped in a West Berlin bombing last month. Among the sanctions was Germany is expelling 5 Syrian diplomats, refusing to appoint a new ambassador to Damascus, and freezing aid to Damascus. Last month, Britain severed ties with Syria after a similar court case. It is being hailed by experts as the most exciting archaeological find of the century, a breed of dinosaur completely unknown until its remains were found by a British plumber. James Wilkinson reports on the prehistoric carnivore affectionately known as claws.
It's 124 million years old. Its head is about 3 feet long, and its sharp teeth show it ate meat, or more probably fish, because the scientists found fish scales in what would have been its stomach. One of the unique features of this dinosaur is this elongated claw. It's so large compared to the rest of the skeleton that the experts here believe the animal represents a completely new family of dinosaurs. They've called it Baryonyx walkeri. Baryonyx is Greek for heavy claw, and walkeri after the name of the man who found it, Bill Walker. When Mr. Walker found it in a Surrey clay pit 3 years ago, he accidentally broke it. He said then he could have cried. It took 3 weeks for the museum staff to excavate and lift the rest of the animal. Since then, they've been carefully chipping away the rock from the bones. They've still got some way to go before all the skeleton is revealed. And this is what the animal probably looked like. Up to 15 feet tall, it lived in the swamplands of Kent and Surrey. They plan to put the dinosaur on display next year.
Museum officials hope to have 2/3 of the entire skeleton assembled by the time Claws officially goes on public exhibit. Up next, Thanksgiving for a homeless family. Stay with us.
On the next Falcon Crest.
You're looking at the next Mrs. Michael Ransom.
How do you know he'll ask you to marry him?
You let me worry about that.
Dan? You do the surgery, Michael. Nobody else. I haven't practiced surgery in a long time. Dr. Parker. You do it or nobody does.
We've got 30 seconds.
Falcon Crest, this morning at 11 on Channel 9.
I want a waterbed, I want because I sleep good. Waterbed warehouse showed me how.
Flash! From around the world and across the nation, people are rushing to Waterbed Warehouse. Why? Because you can get a complete waterbed for only $99. That's right, only $99. So hurry into Waterbed Warehouse. Our low prices will knock your socks off.
Waterbed warehouse showed me. Waterbed warehouse, waterbed warehouse, waterbed.
I want to get a job, then I can buy my own drugs.
Get your hands up! Terrence Martin! This 4.5-pound baby girl was born addicted to cocaine.
You know you just sold a kilo of cocaine to Geraldo Rivera?
Why would you sleep with someone just to get drugs?
I like to fry. I like to do acid.
Geraldo Rivera will show you American Vice. Get any closer to drugs, and you'd get busted.
Tuesday night at 7 on Channel 9.
It was a day for fun, a day for reflection. Thanksgiving Day in America. From coast to coast, people were filling up on food and filling up on the festivities. In New York, the 60th annual Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade drew thousands. One woman was apparently too enthusiastic. She fell out of her window while watching the parade pass by. She landed on a spectator. Both are said to be okay. Some of the floats didn't fare too much better, though. The nation's oldest Thanksgiving Day parade delighted a huge crowd in Philadelphia. They've been having Thanksgiving Day parades there every year since 1920. A different perspective in Plymouth, Massachusetts. The 17th annual Day of Mourning for a group of Native American Indians. Elsewhere in Plymouth, it was Thanksgiving and receiving of vows, wedding vows. A pilgrim got married on a replica of the Mayflower. His name is Pilgrim. She met him on Thanksgiving. They married on the Mayflower.
My new last name, Pilgrim. It's the only place to marry a pilgrim.
A fitting ceremony for an emotional holiday. Thanksgiving Day in America. For most of us, Thanksgiving is a time to gather around the hearth and give thanks. But for many, there is no hearth. There is no home. For some, there is only hope. The Independent News spent Thanksgiving Day with a homeless family whose hearth is only temporary, but whose hope is burning brightly.
So, Heavenly Father, bless this day and let the people that gather around the table for a nice Thanksgiving.
They used to be one of those nice couples down the block, or that young secretary struggling to make ends meet for herself and her baby. Then their lives fell apart. Today they know something special about gratitude. Without the Stepping Stone shelter, their Thanksgiving would be spent on the street, in the cold. But here they have more than just a hot, nourishing meal. Here, 20 adults and kids have a second chance at life. Families are kept together in clean rooms. Staff workers and volunteers gently but firmly pressure parents to find work and permanent homes. 22-year-old Wayne is a construction worker who provided for his wife Kim and their daughter until a few weeks ago. He suddenly lost his job. Then their landlord kicked them out.
We was told to get out. Something hit me right then and there, you know. I said, get out, Get out. Where can I go? You know what I'm saying? Get out to where? And if I had somewhere to go, I would get out. Or I got to do something fast. And I'm not going to have my baby out on the street in the cold, and I'm not going to have my wife out on the street in the cold. If I can find somewhere for them to stay, I'm satisfied.
We didn't have anywhere to sleep for those 3 days. I had this lady keep my daughter, and me and my husband walked all night long. All night long.
A stranger told Kim and Wayne about Stepping Stone Shelter. Quickly, the mother, father, and child were off the streets. For the past week, Wayne has had a $200 a week job. Wayne is saving his money and hopes to be able to move his family into their own apartment in just a few weeks.
And I'm thankful that I have somewhere to have Thanksgiving at, Because if it weren't for a Stepping Stone Shelter or whatever of a shelter, there'll be no Thanksgiving for me or my family. Because how can you have Thanksgiving out on the street?
Unfortunately, Stepping Stones is still a relative rarity in America today. There just aren't enough programs like this one to go around, even as the need increases by an estimated 10% per year. And at this holiday time, there are thousands upon thousands of homeless men, women, and children on the road with nowhere to stay.
It's no fun, and it's happening every day. Especially when you got kids. See, if you're single, it doesn't matter because you can crash here, crash there. But when you have a family, and a child, an infant practically, it is rough, It really is.
Hopefully by Christmas, we will have our own place, Because it's like any other family, that's got a kid. Even though she's 8 months, don't really know too much about Christmas, but I still want her to have one. Because I have one. I like to see my baby wake up in the morning, and go up under that tree, Real. See her break up all her toys, And I like to see my lady have a Christmas too, Because there's things she told me she'd like to have. And I'm going to try my hardest to get it for her, And I'm not really worrying about me. I'm just worrying about this. This is my family. This is what I made. This is what I put together. And God helped me put it together, and he's going to stay behind me. As long as I got faith in myself, That's how I feel about Christmas.
In Rockville, Maryland, Jeff Kamen reporting.
And that is the Independent News. I'm Ed Miller. Have a good night and a great day tomorrow, and a happy Thanksgiving.
The Independent News brought to you by Kellogg's All-Brand Cereal and by the Remington Micro Screen Shaver.
No matter what you do this holiday season, you'll want to stop and take time out for Highland's Holiday Sale with some of the lowest prices of the year. Like this GE 9-inch portable color TV, just $134, save $45. And this pack of 4 BASF videotapes for just $17.44. Get 1 tape free from BASF. End cost $3.49. Highland's Holiday Sale ends Monday night, so don't be left out in the cold.
Old Man Winter is already battering many parts of the United States, so the time to get to Burlington Coat Factory is now. For the first choice of the largest selection of winter coats and jackets in the country, what every member of your family needs to keep warm, no matter how cold it gets. And because Burlington is famous for low prices, you can get your new winter coat at the lowest price imaginable.